Alrighty guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be having a look at the new killer in Dead by Daylight, also known as the Trickster. Now I'm going to go into a little bit of detail explaining this killer, and hopefully it'll give you a bit of an understanding. Now keeping in mind, this is part of the public test build, therefore the PTB, so whatever you see in the video is subject to change in the near future. Now that being said, what is this killer? This killer is a 110% movement speed killer with a 24-meter tear radius. Now he doesn't have a lullaby to go with the tear radius, therefore he is matching the same movement speed as the Huntress, but without the lullaby and the same heartbeat. Now, what is his special ability? If you look at the bottom left-hand side, you're going to see that he has 60 knives. Now, with these knives, he can refill at a locker, as we can currently see. So if we just jump into this locker, we're going to be able to see we can grab our knives out. Now, he can also M1, or he can use the knives as a way to damage a survivor, so unlike Legion's Feral Frenzy. As we can see by Jeff, if you pay attention to the bottom left-hand side of the screen, you're going to be able to see the fact, well, Jeff's little picture. Now, when I get a knife in Jeff in any location of his body, it doesn't matter, you're going to see that there is a bar slowly building up around Jeff. Jeff has to be hit 8 times in succession with a knife. If I hit him with 7, you can see the red around Jeff on the left-hand side. That'll give you information. If I hit him with the final hit, now he's going to be injured, as we can currently see. Now, that being said, if I hit him 7 times and I M1 him, he does not stay prepped. So kind of think of it as Ghostface leaning and stalking a survivor, and wanting them will reset it. That being said, if I were to hit Jeff an additional 8 times while he is currently injured, it will put Jeff into dying state. Now the projectile rate on the knives is pretty fast, as you can see. You're also going to notice in the bottom left hand side of the screen, there is a bar that is building up after every knife that connects with any form of survivor. Now when that bar is fully built up going around the knives, I'm going to be able to enter a mode, and in that mode it's going to be called the main event. Now in the main event, I do have faster RPM and I have unlimited knives. So when I run out of knives, I do have to go to a locker. It does look like you have too many of them, but believe me, you do go through them quite fast. So we are going to get those knives into Jeff again. You can notice the main event doesn't go down. So just like that, I can now activate the main event. So when I run out of knives, I'm going to be able to push the control key at the bottom of the screen. Main event has activated, and now my RPM is a lot faster, but I cannot pull out my weapon, my melee weapon. So it's all based on how many successful hits I can get into a player. Keeping in mind that when a survivor does receive the injured penalty, they do not get an additional movement speed buff for the period of time. Normally when you M1 a survivor, they get to run at 150% movement speed for 2 seconds. If you land enough knives into Jeff, or any character, he will not get the additional movement speed, and you do not have much of a penalty once you use your knives between swapping from your knives and into an M1. So you can use that as kind of like, not so much a built-in save the best for last. So once you use your knives, this is the cooldown on your swing. You're going to notice you can come right up behind and follow up. Keep in mind that you are only 110% movement speed. Now moving on and pointing something out about this killer is they have 3 unique teachable perks on the bottom right hand side of the screen that can be unlocked on any other killer. Now the first perk you can see on the far left hand side, I have a couple of notes on my left, so let's make sure I get it right. It's called Starstruck. Now what does Starstruck do? When a survivor is downed, picked up and on your shoulder, any survivor that enters your heartbeat while you have a survivor in your shoulder will suffer the status effect exposure for the next 30 seconds. That means when you M1 them, no projectile damage, but when you M1 them, they will go into dying state. Therefore, it could be very good on the nurse. Unfortunately, you have no indicator if somebody is under that effect. So keeping in mind that when you pick somebody up and you take them towards a hook, that people will scream if they enter the exposure status effect. But at the same time, it can be very hard for you to be able to track during these kind of things. So if I pick Jeff up, take him to a hook, I don't know if 1 person was around, if 3 people were around, the perk will still go on cooldown regardless. Therefore, I don't think it is an incredibly good perk, unless you're on a small confined map and you had a lot of field of view that you could use to your advantage as well, or perhaps having a larger heartbeat. It does last 30 seconds and has a 90-second cooldown. Now the next perk we're going to be looking at is called Hex Crowd Control. It is a totem perk. When a survivor vaults a window, the window will be sealed as long as it was a fast fall. As you can see, Jeff has sealed this window for himself, and he can seal multiple windows at the same time. So we're going to be able to see that we have this aura around both of these windows, therefore indicating that Jeff cannot no longer vault either of these windows. I can still vault the window because it is not sealed towards the killer. Now that is a phenomenal perk in terms of sealing windows and being able to play around the fact that there is not much a survivor can do. Now what we can do right there is we saw Jeff go for a slow vault. During that slow vault, the window did not seal. Jeff has to do a rushed animation, therefore a medium vault or a fast vault. any form of momentum through the window. If he goes for a slow ball, that does give me time to go for an M1 in his back. Now, the third and final perk I want to point out, keeping in mind that is a totem perk, therefore once the totem is destroyed, it is gone. So you have to really value, would you rather run that perk or would you rather run something like Ruin? It can help shut down a lot of the loops as well and catch people quicker. I personally think it'd be a great perk on the Clown. But let's move on to the next perk. Now, the next perk we're going to be looking at is called No Way Out. Now, this is probably a better version of Remember Me. What does it do? No Way Out is basically every unique hook, therefore pretty much the same as barbecue and chili. Every unique hook that you do on a survivor is going to basically give you 1 token. Once the game is complete, therefore a maximum amount of generators is completed, therefore 5 generators, it'll activate based on how many tokens you have. If you receive a token after that time, unfortunately it will not have an effect. But before that time, so let's say I've hooked 3 survivors. Each survivor represents 10 seconds. The exit gates are now powered. The exit gates are now locked and unable to be opened for the next 30 seconds, however many tokens that you have. Now, this is kind of like Remember Me. Remember Me makes the door take longer to open, but this will seal the door from even being touched in the first place. And then Blood Warden, of course, is when the door is opened and you get a successful hook, and then the power of No One Escapes Death, Noed, also gives you the injure at the end of the game. I don't really like that perk. I would rather a perk that helps stall out the game in your favor, but this is the 3 perks that we do have. Keep in mind, this is on the PTB, so everything is subject to change. So let's just have another little look at this survivor. So we are going to quickly show you guys his Mori. So with Jeff, keeping in mind, something else to point out is these do go in a straight line if you do know the middle of your screen. So as you can see, you're going to be able to get quite a good amount of distance. And if a survivor runs in a straight line, you got to notice that when you do use the blades, they kind of go off to the side when you sidestep. So we can see Jeff is now injured, he didn't get enhanced movement speed, and we're going to be able to follow up with a down as an example. Now, when you do come in for the Mori on Jeff, you're going to notice that he does say something too. I've been told that he says thank you in the animation, so let's have a look.
간다. 자. 감사합니다.
And a little censored at the end, as we can see. Now, something I want to point out about that is a very long Mori animation as opposed to somebody like Pyramid Head or somebody like the Pig. Having a long Mori, the time is very important based on people could be popping the last generator. There could be a lot of different things happening. Anyways, guys, that's going to be a quick rundown of the new killer. I didn't go through any of his add-ons, keeping in mind that they are all subject to change after the PTB is done. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I do education, informative, DVD killer, and survivor content over Twitch. If you guys want to tune into the live stream, if you enjoyed the first look, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. And I'm sure I'm going to read a lot of comments in the description about the first lick. Great. Alright, we'll see you in the next video.